shall be mine!
Watch your back. The light protects me.
I feel icky.
My eyes are open.
My shield for Argus!
Here
done.
Your soul shall be mine!
Watch your back.
Job's done.
Here we go.
possibilities. My eyes are open.
Here we go. Shields up! Here we go. Shields up!
Valera versus Rexar.
Let the hunt begin.
Watch your back.
Greetings, traveler.
Bring out your dead. Bring out your dead.
My eyes are open. I let the dogs out. Of course.
Ha, this guy's toast.
Job's done. done. Greetings.
I wonder. Here we go. Here we go.
My blade be thirsty.
Ha, this guy's toast.
My eyes are open.
Here we go. I have no time for games. Here we go.
None shall rise. Well played.
Here we go.
Job's done.
I got the best deals anywhere. I got the best deals anywhere.
Here we go.
Well played.
Valera versus Rexar.
Let the hunt begin.
Watch your back.
I feel icky. I'll show them. I'll show them all. Force fire!
Valera versus Rexar.
Let the hunt begin.
Watch your back.
About it better, Frodan, because now he is going to try to steal that. No, he's just going to go ahead and take out the Dark Cultist. So
Interesting.
All right.
buffing up Bane Bloodhoof. Yeah, interesting play. I like the way you were talking about it, though. He would have gotten a little bit more, but
this keeps Sylvanas alive. I can't be mad at that.
it's a 5-attack minion. It's still really strong right now.
Oof.
Okay.
Where's a crazed alchemist when you need one?
Yeah, right.
Well, there's no good way to outright clear the entire board. This is a lot of power over there on the other side, and you are still at a very precarious 12 life total. You've got to be thinking about how you want to best try to kill some of this stuff, hopefully.
Well, you have an opportunity to try and donate some cards to your opponent. Like, if you donate the Northshire Cleric or a Loot Hoarder, I think you're not as worried about it.
Right.
You know what he could do, too, is he could attack one of the Soul Priests with Bane Bloodhoof just to get it a little bit weaker, a little bit less threatening, and then he could he could kill off Sylvanas with Holy Nova and hope it steals the 1/2 and then steal it right back later with Cabal Shadow Priest.
That's true. That is very conditional, though. It's like,
So
if this happens,
well,
this happens, this happens.
It's a 50-50, right? It's a 1 and 2 if it happens or not, and I think he's going to go for it.
Well, you don't have enough mana to do Holy Nova and Cabal Shadow Priest this turn, but the next turn, this could be a big moment.
Oh, that was such a big deal.
Nice, he gets it. That's exactly what he wanted. And looking at this board, a 50-50 chance is the most you can hope for. Yeah, I really agree with that. Great play. Defender of Argus, too. That is a good draw for later.
That enables the Loot Hoarder.
Yep, he might
definitely.
He might be willing to play the Loot Hoarder now.
For Strife Code to potentially turn this game around. Oh, never mind. Loot Hoarder's coming down.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I mean, it's not going to get stolen or anything, so that's fine. And there's the silence. Not too helpful. You can deny the draw, I guess. But
neither of the players had the silence in a circumstance where it would have been very good.
Well,
it still has an opportunity to do something later.
He can actually clear the board with this, because the silence brings back Bane to an appropriate power level. And
it does.
Hero power it down.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, he can do that. And he could even play that with the Pyromancer if you wanted to be lazy and not have to kill the Loot Hoarder manually.
Of course, he doesn't want to use that Holy Nova with his Soul Priest in play, so that's kind of a dead card at this point.
Yep.
Once upon a time, by the way, this priest versus priest game was 30 health versus 6.
I know.
Now it's 16 versus 16.
Strifecrow.
And Strifecrow has a resource advantage.
What's Strifecrow draw there? Zombie Chow. Okay, not the most helpful thing ever because he doesn't have any Soul Priest of himself out yet.
I really like the... It looks risky, but I really like the play where he did go for the 50-50 on Sylvanas. I know it seems a little bit counterintuitive to put your life into a 50-50 basket, but when you feel like 50-50 is your best odds to get an advantage in a game where you can put the game in a position where you might win, that you got to take it.
It was his best chance, and that's why he did it, and it paid off so well for him. That was like the play of the tournament right there for me. That was so cool.
I am a little bit surprised that he didn't play the Northshire Cleric first, because he could have played that out there as well, and had a chance for even that to.
That's a good point.
Get stolen, but
he does have Arcanine Soul Priest.
Yeah, he did just get it.
Man, if he was able to overcome this last hurdle of clearing everything out, things would be great.
He just does not really have any AoE left, does he? I mean, let's see. I suppose this turn you probably Cabal Shadow Priest and then run your Bane Bloodhoof into his Arcanine Soul Priest. And with only 2 cards left in Stunner's hand right now, things are looking really good for Strifecrow. He can still heal himself as well this turn.
He has access to Defender of Argus, and I have to imagine that's going to be his play this turn.
Yeah,
he's going to get the slime, and the slime is at risk of dying to, of course, the Arcanine Soul Priest or potentially anything happening, shenanigans with the Wild Pyros. So if he plays something like the Defender of Argus, it will maybe he just doesn't want it to get Shadow or Death, and both these minions are for attack.
Well, the problem is if he plays...
That's a good point, too, though.
If he plays a spell, both of these Pyromancers die.
This is really scary, though, because what if his opponent has something like Holy Fire or something like that?
Then both of these... he
goes down to
both
1
of
health?
these Wild Pyromancers die.
Well, he wouldn't go down to 1 health because the Pyromancers would kill each other.
Oh, now 1 Pyromancer dies.
That's
true.
Ooh.
Ah, there we go. Okay.
Stunner, this is important. He lost a creature
I guess the attack was irrelevant.
That is true, yeah. He can attack
I
in now
suppose
for 3. Or does he want to clear the board? Here's the thing, though. He can't really trade minions because he doesn't really have any minions left.
Yeah, look
in
at the
his
state of
hand.
this game. Is this the beginning of the end? Is this finally?
It may be. It may be.
Hold on. He still has the ability to clear one of the minions with Holy Nova, or just he's going to heal up and pass. Oh, that's dangerous. That is a dangerous game with how many cards your opponent has.
Well, he could heal himself up and he could still use Holy Nova. He knows there's going to be a lot more creatures down, though, so he feels a lot of pressure to save that Holy Nova for as long as possible.
That's
and
true.
He still has 16 health. Okay, feels like he needs to use it now.
I think you have to. There's just too many 4-attack creatures on the board. Oh, Stunner doesn't know what to do because at this point, that Wild Pyromancer will die.
Yeah, and I mean, look at this. Strife Crow, so many minions in his hand. He's got so many options to set up a really good board with that Defender of Argus. He saved it. He played it patiently. Man, I can't believe we're seeing Strife Crow come back in this game. It's insane.
You know, the fact that he didn't trade with Bane allows him to heal up,
Yeah.
and then now start to play defensively, dropping Loot Hoarder, Defender of Argus, and Zombie Chow. And then your opponent becomes on a point where, like, the second Alkanai Soul Priest and the Circle of Healing is the only out, but he already played both Alkanai, so now he relies on Thought Steal.
I don't know if I'd put that that Zombie Chow down until I play my Alkanai Soul Priest, you know, just to make sure that it does damage to my opponent instead of heals him.
Yeah, but I feel like board position matters so much more than the health count right now.
Could be, yeah.
Well, it looks like he might Defender up his Akanai, and he feels like he's good
4/6.
enough here, and make it a 4 power. And if his guy gets Shadow Word Death, his Bane, he'll be fine with that because it'll be a 5/1.
Yeah, he may, okay, so, yeah, I mean, Bane Bloodhoof would have died anyway if you would have ran it in there, so.
All right, well, the race is on. Double Holy Fire? Back to back? No?
Yeah,
All
I
right,
don't
Injured
know.
Playmaster.
This is difficult.
crazy,
almost
man.
certainly needed it to just be Holy Fire into Holy Fire.
Well, you know, luckily for him, he can get rid of one of these minions with the Shadow Word Death, so that is something. He can silence the other, which is nice.
But that's a 3-mana Holy Smite.
It is, yeah. It's not ideal.
It
but
didn't do any, and then now the opportunity for him to strike back is so great because he can clear the board and start putting out whatever he wants.
this is what Strife Crow kind of was expecting to happen, I'm sure. And there's a draw. You got to be a little bit careful with the draws at this point. Fatigue is a real issue. And does he really need anything more at this point?
He's got 10 cards. I think he's got plenty of time to work with. His opponent's
Oh,
down
yeah,
to
10
0
cards left.
cards.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got 10. He's got 10 cards
It's
left.
gone. This game to say all the turns have taken so
Sure.
long. I felt like their cards should be more. Another Zombie
2
Chow.
minions
Okay.
in play and 7 cards in hand
Okay.
to no cards in hand and
Yeah.
no minions in play.
And he can be very, very like liberal about his card trading now. He has really not a whole lot to worry about.
Ball Shadow Priest could most likely be to draw the 4 or 5 unless he gets something better. No. Thought Steal allows him to peek into what his opponent has remaining.
Yeah, that is true. Is Ysera out there? Sludge Belcher. Whoa, that is huge at this point. And a Circle of Healing as well. Oh, man. Yeah, Strife Crow looking so good at this point in the game, despite being down at 9 health.
Oh, man. Stunner actually hovered over Concede on our screen. You can't see it because we're on Strife Crow's POV, but he is looking like he doesn't want to see the end of this game.
This is the final game, though, before one of these guys goes to BlizzCon. This is one you really need to play out to the very end. And there's mind control.
On a board with so many small minions. How is this useful at all?
I know.
Usually turn 15, Mind Control's a good card.
He's going to hope that there's a Ysera played or something like that.
This is
you know,
bad
but I don't know if
news.
Strife Crow runs that, actually, in his deck.
I think Strife Crow realizing you're so far ahead. I feel like you can just start putting out 4-attack creatures too. Like the Cabal Shadow Priest aren't gaining that much more value by sitting in your hand.
You can see him pointing out the damage, counting
Healing
out the damage
yourself.
on his screen. And he may even hesitate playing that Sludge Belcher because he knows that Mind Control is still out there for his opponent's deck. It's been this entire game and he hasn't seen it. So I like this. You just go for the phase. Don't need to play anything big. Injured Blade Master's fine, but okay, so he's going to have to burn through this.
I suppose Shadow Madness is the only way for the Sludge Belcher to backfire, but I don't think it matters. There's nothing in Stunner's deck that really can pull him out of the situation.
Oh, Power Word shielded enemy minion.
I know. He can, grab the Sludge Belcher. It's an obvious play right there, but it's going to get taken out fairly quickly. Yeah. He's got a couple different ways to do it. He's going to have to trade some minions in, but that's fine. That's not a big problem.
Yeah. Why don't you take the 1/2 Sludge back with Cabal Shadow Priest?
Yeah.
Now, do you use the golden one or the regular one?
Is that what we have come to?
This is what we've come to.
It's gotta be
has
gold.
relegated our talking topics to how does he end the game.
When you're punching your golden ticket to BlizzCon, you use your golden card.
That's right. I agree,
right.
man. Yep.
Well said, Reels.
He's not even going to
I'm
Shadow
pretty
Priest
sure
it.
Strifecrow
clear it.
feels very good about his position, but yet he's taking his time to count up everything. I think you can even expend a circle of healing to push out. Oh, man.
He wants to draw more. He's like, no, I want to be fatigued.
He
This
wants-
is like,
he wants
this is-
Ystera.
Oh, well, there's
Whoa.
Karen
Karen
Blood.
is not bad.
That's pretty good. And he just saw
Mind
Mind
Control's
Control
gone.
used, so why not? Yeah.
Mind Control gone. Sylvanas has
Time
been
for
used.
Circle of Healing now. Yep.
This board is unstoppable.
Don't worry, the Soul Priest is silenced,
This
guys.
is the end. If it wasn't the end before, and it was, this is certainly the end now.
This is definitely the end. What could he possibly draw into? Another Sludge Belcher.
Sludge Belcher.
Okay.
Well, he gets to powered shield it.
It
No.
may not quite be the end, but it's nearly going to be the end. Another Sludge Belcher.
number 2. Where were you earlier, guys?
Wow. Okay. So, can he get rid of this without having to? Okay. I think he's gonna have another turn here. Yeah. There's no way that Strifecrow can do 11 damage.
Hey,
so
guess what?
close.
He is playing Undertakers in this
Yeah.
deck.
Oh yeah.
All right.
One of the very
There you
last
go.
cards.
Undertaker
drawn.
Priest.
That's
Now
what-
we know.
I mean, I wasn't sure about it because I was like, we've gone so long without
right.
seeing it.
We saw the other cards. I mean, it's clearly
Right.
not Control Priest. So yeah, it's definitely that style, and he's gonna just go ahead. Now he's gonna take that one too. He's all right.
Yoink.
I'll do it. Yep.
Shockey's favorite card.
Stunner sitting back, realizing he's come so far. He came all the way from Australia, but it wasn't enough. He was one step away, one game
so
away
close.
Yeah.
from
I mean,
advancing to the top 4.
Sludge Belcher, Holy Nova, just toss that out there.
Yeah.
You're back up to 7, and well played
That's
from
gonna be it.
Stunner. Strifecrow, he should be able to burn through it right now. 7 health. Does he have enough this turn? Let's see if we can count it
Yes, absolutely. He's got Cabal Shadow Priest number 2. Strifecrow has
Oh,
played
yeah, you're right.
immaculately, and now will secure his spot for top 4. He is your second
Amazing.
representative from Americas.
up. What an incredible series that was, and there it is. GG. Strifecrow's going to BlizzCon.
It dragged out a little bit at the end, but basically that whole game was so tense.
Yeah.
So tense the whole way through. It was down
almost
to
dead.
the final moments, the last cards. It even took a 50-50 with Sylvanas that she should have done and did. I'm very impressed.
Well, oh, go ahead.
No, just people might have forgotten if you joined midway of that game that Strifecrow was 2 damage away from dying.
Right.
In one turn, because Stunner did have the burst with a few of those cards to do damage straight from the hand, and he just needed to pair together a sequence, but Strifecrow somehow bounced back, played very strong with his board, very decisive, and of course, like you said, that Sylvanas play where instead of grabbing the Bane with that had that 4/7 stats, end up grabbing the 1/2 Sludge. All the world's difference, and he has somehow pulled out this win 3-2.
I feel like that game was really the essence of Hearthstone, where you just have a combination of really, really smart plays and then a little bit of good luck at the right time, and that really makes the best games, and that makes the best players too. And Strifecrow, definitely one of the best.
Well, in a way, even being in that position you could paint it as a little bit of bad luck. When you're playing a game and you do literally nothing for your first 4 turns, sometimes you feel really down. You feel like there's no way back, and Strifecrow proved that there is a way back, and he made it through that game.
Absolutely, and I think Stunner also deserves a round of applause. He came
Oh,
all the way from
absolutely,
Australia, fought hard, came 1 game away against one of the heavy favorites. And if people weren't paying attention to the Aussie scene or the Oceanic region, they should now. This guy did a wonderful job.
Wow, wow, what do you say after a series like that? So 2 people going to BlizzCon so far that we know of, Firebat and Strifecrow. 2 more matches that we need to see to close it out. It's going to be Dear Jason versus D2 next, it looks like.
That's right, and then we'll close out the day with Tides of Time and Teray. Now, we don't see much of Dear Jason. He's very much in the same boat as Strifecrow. He won his group, I heard pretty convincingly, but we didn't get to see him on the main stage. He was playing on the alternative stream, which was casted by Dart and TJ Sanders, who did a wonderful job yesterday. And we'll be seeing that coming up in just a few seconds. But before we do that, we want to talk to the winner, Strifecrow, and think, whoa, Strifecrow, what happened that series? Rachel, take it away.
What happened that series? That's exactly, I think, what is on everyone's mind. You passed the first 5 turns. What went on there?
Yeah, I was actually kind of ready to lose. Yeah, basically, I was playing kind of like an Undertaker priest, so my priest kind of needed the early opening against kind of like a control power Minister priest. I mulliganed into like all slow cards like mind control. I forgot it was something really slow, so I pretty much just didn't do anything. One of my big decisions was like turn 4 whether to Alchanize Circle, but I figure I could get more value. I kind of got punished for it with his move, but I figured at some point, like, if I get enough value from Alkanai Circle, I can pretty much win the long games, which is kind of what happened. Obviously, I had to get really lucky. There were some turns where I felt like I probably was going to die because I was so low, and I think he was running Smite and Holy Fire, so I was really scared of those cards. I don't think he had quite enough damage, and even if he had like a little bit, but not, even if he could have got me to 1 with just like the Holy Fire and not the Smite, it probably wouldn't have been that great because, Priest doesn't have that much burst and I could just keep healing. So, eventually I was able to clear his whole board, and then, I kind of got lucky with the Sylvanas. I was actually feeling pretty good after I mind controlled the Karn, but then, I got Sylvanas and I didn't have anything to deal with it. Kind of just get lucky, and yeah, it worked out. Some of the turns were really complicated, and my nerves were kind of like racing. So I think like something like maybe like turn 8 to 10 was like all really crazy. So yeah.
You use the word lucky a lot in your answer, but a lot of this comes down to practice and thought and the very particular way you choose your cards. You said in an interview that you actually don't even settle your deck until like 1 day before the tournament. You're changing so much stuff around. Did you change anything in your priest deck that you might have been wishing for at the last game there?
I mean, this priest deck I kind of just found on some websites or saw some other people play. I didn't actually make this priest deck. I don't play that much priest, but priest is so strong in the metagame that I feel like I kind of did want to bring priest. Most of my decks are fairly similar to the decks I ran at WCA, but I made a couple of changes. The Druid list I ran at WCA, like I kind of like picked it, and then I wasn't confident in it, so I ended up never playing it. I'm a lot more confident in this Druid list. I kind of like the changes, like Sun Fury instead of some of the spiders, because a lot of people are playing aggro, especially in this, NNA. So Sun Fury's been, pretty good. I'm pretty happy with my deck lists. Stunner had, originally when I thought, when I saw I was playing Stunner, I didn't know much about him, but he ended up playing, really solid. I thought it was going to be, a lot easier than it was, but after I saw his classes, I was a little bit worried because I kind of felt like I didn't have the best classes against him. I felt like, our classes are fairly similar, but he had, what was it? Something like I had priest. We both had priest.
He had a rogue, druid, and priest.
Yeah, the rogue was kind of what I was worried about. I was actually pretty close to banning the rogue, but since he's been doing so well with Zoo, I ended up banning Zoo. I didn't feel like even though the priest is really good against Zoo, I was still a little bit worried about that one. I was actually kind of worried about the rogue and priest as well, so I was kind of like worried about everything, and I didn't really have a great ban, so I ended up taking the first game with like a pretty crazy draw on my druid. He actually had quite a few answers. Like he actually managed to kill 2 spectral knights, which I did not think was really possible as a miracle rogue. But I managed to just squeeze in the lethal on him. But yeah, my druid start in the druid mirror was like kind of slow. And then I was like kind of debating whether to keep my like 2-drop and 3-drop curve or just go for like the wall growth. But I figure it's a fairly solid opening, and if he doesn't have like a strong wall growth innervate opening, I'd be pretty far ahead. But yeah.
Those are great answers. On ranked, you usually play 1v1, and so it's kind of hard to get a feel for your opponent, get a feel for how the match is going to play out, especially when you come to a tournament like this where you have to do bans. You have to choose one of their decks to just go away. So what is the disconnect between ranked right now and tournament, and what is really similar?
Well, I do think that the ban format is a little bit different than ladder, simply because you can kind of ban the strong stack. Ban formats usually lead to a little bit of a different meta game, because you can kind of like sometimes the best deck is kind of stifling on ladder, where it can make a lot of other decks unplayable. Like you kind of saw this with when Hunter was really strong, you could not play any secret kind of mage. But after this last nerf on the Leroy and Buzzer Wizard and stuff. I don't think any deck is particularly stifling right now, so I don't know if the metagame is all that different in a ban format compared to ladder right now. Even like Handlock, which some people probably feel like is a strong deck, or Hunter, they definitely have counters, so yeah, I mean, the formats are fairly similar now.
Well, my final question is, you said in Counter-Strike, you like to play the guy in the doorway with a shotgun. What card in Hearthstone would be the equivalent of that?
I think the card in Hearthstone equivalent to that is like by far Patient Assassin, I think, because you're like a little dude stealth in the corner, and then you just get him. Like, I'm not very good at Counter-Strike, so when I usually play with my friends, I'm pretty happy if I can just like kill one person per round. So Patient Assassin, I guess, doesn't ever kill more than one dude, and you kind of just sit in the corner and ambush somebody. So
amazing. Sir Scoot said in my ear, he'll give you lessons, so don't worry. All right, thanks so much, Strife, an amazing match. Amazing credit to Stunner as well. He did a great job. And speaking of good job, casters.
Aw, thank you so much, Rachel.
So nice.
The nicest thing anyone said to me all day. Well, you guys had the opportunity to say nice things about StrifeCro and his match, as well as congratulate Stunner for a great run, too, using the hashtag #RoadToBlizzCon. And, of course, StrifeCro can sigh a big, deep relief because that one was really close. We thought Stunner had that match.
It really looked like it. I mean, StrifeCro was down to 4 health, theoretically 2 because the damage was in Stunner's hand, and he just barely couldn't close it out. And coming down to that turn where he had to do the 50-50 Sylvanas, right, between the 1-2 taunt and the Bane Bloodhoof with a lot of extra health, got the 1-2 taunt. Like, that was, like I said it right then, play of the tournament for me so far. But we've got 2 great matches left. We still have to decide who's going to BlizzCon out of our 8 finalists, or 4 finalists.
Right, 4 players left to go, 2 matches left to go, 2 players going to BlizzCon, 2 going home. We're going to have to find out who it'll be.
That's right. Our next match will be Dear Jason coming up against his opponent. But let's talk about Dear Jason before D2.
Okay.
Dear Jason, we haven't met him yet. He's a young kid, and he's the youngest playing at 15?
15?
Wow. What? It's true. The thing is,
the dream is
15 years old.
I think that's the age I won my first local Magic the Gathering tournament. This is a little bit bigger of a stage than that, though.
This kid's a genius.
The talent exists.
He's 95th percentile in his test in all schools. His favorite card is Murloc Tidecaller. Oh, man. But you know what? As much as he might have all these impressive feats, I think his most impressive feat is the deck lists that he brought. Now, I don't know specifics about him, but I know the classes that he brought. He brought Warrior, Paladin, Druid, and Shaman. And there's 2 classes omitted there that we've been seeing a lot of, Hunter and Zoo, or the Warlock, rather.
That is a crazy set of deck lists, man. If this was like a police drama, he would be like the loose cannon that everyone was like, wow, he's kind of crazy, but he gets the job done. He's starting with Warrior, too, which is awesome. Well, there's D2 from Don't Kick My Robot. Secret Keeper is his favorite card. Interesting. That one actually saw some play after Nax for a little bit.
Yeah, but then they realized Undertaker was better.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, well, it's not so good after all, but...
Absolutely. Well, D2, of course, the last time he came on stage, he told me he was pretty nervous. He did miss the lethal that Rios was able to spot earlier in the broadcast, but he said, at that point he was feeling pretty confident, but still kind of shaky at the time. He's calmed down since then. He says, I know Dear Jason is really good, but he's the best opponent I could ask for. There are 3 other Cs that he was like, I don't want to face Teray, I don't want to face Hyde, I certainly don't want to face StrifeCro. So if I had to pick one out of the 4, Dear Jason is the guy.
Well, Dear Jason is the youngest player. Maybe he thinks that will mean that he is not the strongest player. We're going to find out in this match whether or not that's true. And, well, maybe Dear Jason is just a young phenom and he's better than everyone. We just don't know yet.
It's true. He could actually be a super genius.
Yeah. Man.
Okay, well, Warrior.
Here we go.
For the second time in the tournament, we see Warrior, the leadoff deck for somebody. Dear Jason bringing it against the Druid from D2. And this is going to be such an interesting series, actually. Druid banned by D2, Shaman banned by Dear Jason, and so we could actually see a Paladin game.
Is this the first match all tournament long? As I was getting my nerd hunch on. Is this the first series all tournament long?
I have to straighten up my chair. Now, hold on.
Guys, I promise I'm not a turtle the entire time.
There.
Is this the first series all tournament long where there hasn't been 2 classes mirrored on both sides? It's 6 unique classes.
That is pretty crazy.
For the best of us.
Maybe. That is going to make it a very interesting match. There will no possibility of a mirror match.
Yeah.
Some of the matches we've seen, like Shaman versus Zoo, and then
end with Shaman
Zoo versus Shaman. Like, none of that is going to happen here. This is going to be all unique classes, a true rainbow of colors among all of them being represented.
Diversity.
So,
Every class is special.
These
like
players
special snowflakes.
promote diversity, so
there you go.
More equal opportunity
their
here
Hearthstone
in
classes.
the America's Hearthstone Championship. Game 1's about to begin between Dear Jason and D2. Only one person can advance. Who will it be? Let's find out starting now.
Here we go, guys. I am so happy to see Warrior once again, and it is Control Warrior. Okay, well, there's a question answered right off the top. He is running 2 unstable ghouls, which it's more common than running only 1 or running 0, but you do see a little bit of variation in the hyper-modern Control Warriors right now.
I wonder if this Warrior was anticipating a Hunter leadoff, because I know you don't want to play Warrior into Druid, and your best response by a fat margin is a Warrior against the Hunter deck.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely right. And Hunter has what looks like probably on paper a pretty good matchup against most of his decks.
Like Shaman and Paladin.
Exactly. So being in this position here, having this matchup where you're playing Warrior against Druid is maybe not what he was looking for, maybe not what he was trying to get.
Yep, and he does throw one of those unstable ghouls back. Not too shocking there. All right, not a terrible draw. Execute a really useful card against some bigger minions that Druid throws out. And you notice he kept the Black Knight. Now he's got coin, of course, so he can get that out on turn 5 if he needs to. But an expensive card to keep. But again, against Druid, I think not a bad choice to hold on to that.
Yeah, a lot of the things that Druid have can be taunt creatures. Some of them play Sludge Belcher, some of them don't. We've seen more Spectral Knights for Druids today than we have
Druids
Sludge
have a lot less
Belchers.
taunts than they have before. That is
something we've mostly noticed. Yeah, that's true. No Innervate, no Wild Growth for the Druid player. So at this point, he does just have to wrath this unstable ghoul, and he's willing to do it because he knows something like an Acolyte of Pain can come down behind it.
Right, but then wouldn't you wrath the Acolyte?
Yeah, you know,
instead?
actually, I agree. You know, I think actually Dear Jason's pretty happy to see that because if he's got Armor Smith and Acolyte in his hand.
He is happy to see it, and yes, you would rather wrath the Acolyte of Pain, but the Druid player knows he wants to play a Yeti the subsequent turn.
Mana curve.
And that also kills it in one shot.
That's true.
So he's making sure he stays on curve while not giving multiple cards to the Acolyte.
Well, we'll see what the choice is here. I mean, obviously now Armor Smith not as appealing. It would die immediately to the Yeti, as would the Acolyte of Pain. And he doesn't really have a clean way to kill it either. I mean, this isn't a type of situation that you'd want to use Execute on, but that's really his only option if he's going to kill it, you know?
That's true. I wouldn't be surprised if he had done something like coining out the Sludge Belcher in that case. He has one more turn to play it where it's not going to get Black Knighted, but his opponent does have Black Knight in hand, as does he. So Sludge Belcher will be at risk of getting Black Knighted on any turn after this.
It's a very nice card to have, honestly. Azure Drake is really strong just because it keeps the gas up. It's just a mini Ancient of Lore, and that's also a really powerful card.
And I do kind of like Lothep here, too. Control Warrior, you know, lives and dies by its spells so often in the early game like this, and so denying that might be Execute and whatever else is drawn, which is nothing this particular time, is usually a pretty good play. Doesn't really hurt Dear Jason that much this time around, I'd say, though.
This might
not
tempt him to
really.
play a Sludge Belcher, and if he does, it will get Black Knighted, and that will be a big swing for the Druid. He'll get to have a solid board, and we don't see anything like a Brawl ready to go for the Warrior, so that could be a lot of trouble.
Yeah, looking at his hand, looking at
I think it will be Sludge Belcher, though. The alternatives are pretty weak.
I mean, if you look at it from Dear Jason's perspective, Lothep just comes down. It's going to be, you know, if you play the Sludge Belcher, it's going to be traded for anyway. You know, maybe you actually want to go for the Unstable Ghoul here just because you could gain a little bit more armor conceivably with that being hit first.
And it looks like that's what he's going to do. He's going to play Unstable Ghoul to threaten to kill both of these minions. I really like this a lot. Even if he were to Black Knight the Unstable Ghoul now, it wouldn't do what he